Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome into another live stream here. How are we all doing? We are, we have just started this live stream here. So just give us a minute here to get fully set up. Alright. What's going on, guys? How we doing? Welcome into the live stream. Shout out to Jay in the live chat saying we're so boned. Bill Brower, shout out to Bill. Been waiting for you to go live all day. Hell yeah, dude, here we are. We're live now. Let's take a look at the damage. What's going on? Bitcoin on the 1 minute time frame here on the right hand side. Just make this. There we go. Okay, we got Bitcoin here on the 1 minute on the right hand side. So we'll be taking a look at this. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. Sledgehammer saying we're in a bear market. Shout out to Alex from Portugal. What's going on, Alex? Welcome back to the live streams here. Smash up those likes as you are coming in here, ladies and gents. We're sitting at 9. Let's get these up to 50. You already know the deal. Greetings from Belgium. What's going on, Belgium? Alfred, what's up, man? Welcome to the live stream. Bill from Wisconsin. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. Adam feels emotionless. Okay. Okay, good. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. I feel emotionless too. If I could say that. I don't know. Can I say that? Am I feeling emotionless? I mean, I guess I feel like the fear that other people feel. I think I feel that a little bit. There's definitely a little bit of that. But I mean, you know, it's an experience I've lived through a lot, so it doesn't really affect me anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think I can still feel it, but I think I'm numb to it. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. But welcome into the live stream, everyone. Smash up those likes. All right. How's it going? You should be able to see the stream again now. Alright, you guys should be able to hear me now. I don't know what happened. That was a little connection issue, I guess. But let's see how this goes. Yeah, you guys should be able to see stuff now. Yeah, I don't really know what happened, but anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining in here. We're 30 likes away from 50. Smash those likes up if you haven't done so already. Straight back into the live stream. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. So, Bitcoin managed to get that kiss of death up here. Actually, let me just give it another minute because I do want to be recording before I start. And once I start, I don't want to stop. I thought the crypto market had you frozen stiff. Nah, bro. It's fine. Honestly, like, this market's not even that scary. It's not. I'm surprised by how people are kind of responding to things right now because I've been through a lot of these market cycles and I definitely think it's been worse than this, personally. I don't think this is, like, anywhere near as bad as it's gotten before. Do I hold altcoins? Yes, sir, I do. I do hold altcoins. Thankfully, I haven't been hit too hard. I haven't been hit too hard on my altcoins. 15 away from 50, you legends. Thank you all very much. Probably my biggest holding is Solana, and I think my average entry on it would have been, like, around here, maybe even higher, like up here. So what am I down by? Like 15, not even 15%. It's fine, whatever. I'm not really used to losing money. I don't usually lose money, so it's a little bit unusual for me. Like, I mean, you know, I used to lose a lot of money, and then I kind of, like, firmed up, and I stopped trading like a fucking degen. And since then, I kind of just haven't really lost money very often. And you know, I mean, that doesn't mean, like, you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. I mean, you know, it's part of the game. So, you know, I'm not really taking it too seriously at all. But thank you all very much for smashing those likes up, you legends. A lot of James at the water coolers today in the live chat. Hell yeah. Shout out to the Jameses in the live stream today. Yeah, 148 BTC for Solana. That's probably my main altcoin that I'm holding. I got a little bit of XRP. I do have Cardano. I did get hit on Cardano because my average entry on Cardano was quite high. It was quite high, but I didn't buy very much. I didn't like buy a huge amount, but I'm down 20%. Okay, so you know, not ideal. Obviously, against the dollar, I probably entered Solana like, you know, quite high. Like it must have been like up here. I'm down like 30% now, but I'm not interested in dollar valuations. I'm interested in accumulating more Bitcoin because I do think Bitcoin is going to continue to perform very well, not only in this market cycle, which I still don't think is over, but I think that Bitcoin will also continue to perform well in the coming years. So I'm quite confident and happy to be holding that. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing there. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. How are we feeling? How are we feeling in the live chat today? Let me know how we're feeling. Smash up those likes as you are coming in here. We're just 7 away from 50. How are we feeling in the live chat? Where in the world are we watching from? We got Marty feeling a little bit of hate from Timbuktu. I don't even know where that is, bro. I feel like that place is just a meme at this point, isn't it? Where in the world is that? I feel like I should know. DGen cam is up and now we're ready. Hell yeah, Davine. Welcome into the live stream, Davine. Good to see you here again. $88,600. That is where Bitcoin is right now. So we're just going to get into the analysis here in just a moment. Really breaking down what Bitcoin has been doing. Has the connection been stable, guys? Has the connection been stable since I since I came back? A fool says check it in from hell. Hey Savvy, what's up, dude? What's up, dude? I'll see you there, bro. Bill Brower says the red backlight is fitting. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Bitcoin is not about the price action, but the friends you meet along the way. Nah, dude. It's just about the fucking money, bro. All right. Good to know the connection is stable. That's very, very good to know. All right. Okay, so Bitcoin has found resistance off the $93,000 level here. This is inside of this kind of 91 to 94k block of resistance. Bitcoin ended up getting rejected and swept the low, and it's setting a new low right now. So in these kind of circumstances, you would actually expect the market to move pretty quickly because it's a really fucking big catastrophe, really, that you overshoot a support level. The support level was, of course, right here. That you overshoot the support level, find support, and then break that low again. Like, that is about as bad as a chart can ever fucking get. You know, I mean, in terms of, like, super short-term price action. And yet, it's been a number of hours. I mean, this wick took us below the level, then we kind of, like, traded around the level and recovered. This time, we're having a more confident drop, but you know, I mean, we're not really getting a crazy amount of follow through. Now, at the same time, let's go ahead and maximize the chart here. At the same time, Bitcoin dominance is sitting at 59.3. So there is a recovery taking shape on Bitcoin dominance now. Of course, you know, I'm going to tolerate some sort of kind of upward movement here for Bitcoin dominance while it's trending down. It's very normal that we get these kind of patterns producing inside of the market. So you know, being printed inside of the market. And so, you know, dominance has been kind of, you know, looking heavy for some time, and we were analyzing that. I think especially over here, I was very vocal with you guys who are on this YouTube channel. Shout out to those of you that were tuned in for that stuff. Let me know if you remember me talking about this non-fucking stop throughout the entire month of November, telling you guys that I think dominance is going to take a dip. And that is exactly what's happened here. So, and I still think this dip can get a lot bigger. But of course, there are some reactions that are happening along the way. Now, it is Wednesday, and we're about halfway through the Wednesday trading session, and the S&P 500 continues to look weak. And I think that's why crypto has done so poorly here. This is a chart on the S&P 500 right now that is telling me a story pretty clearly that, you know, I mean, well, look, I mean, we can, you know, let me just show you so I don't have to tell you. So, you know, we've got this kind of support level for the S&P 500. Let's say that the support level is, you know, like basically what is this, 65.80 to 66.40, let's say. And the S&P 500 manages to use this level initially as resistance when it's at an all-time high, because this was an all-time high. This was the highest level that the S&P had ever gotten to at this point. And then the S&P manages to flip it and use it as support multiple times. Once, twice. I don't want to count this one, actually, but once, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5. I'm not going to count that 6 times, and I am actually going to count that. That's 7. And so, you know, we're consistently bouncing off this level here. And so this is a level that I was kind of expecting with you guys, and I was talking about this on the live streams that I was carrying out with you guys over these last, you know, days and weeks. By the way, if you are enjoying the stream so far, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Help me out with the discoverability on this channel a little bit. Help out with the algorithm. Really do appreciate it. But what we did see earlier on was the S&P set that all-time high at about 6,900. God bless, and it did get this nice drop down into this same support range, but crucially, it was a quick reversal, right? I mean, the S&P kind of tagged it, and we're on the hourly chart here, so it only really spent about an hour, honestly less than that, actually interacting with this support level. But this time, we're really spending a lot of time down here, and we've dipped even lower. So, you know, it's definitely looking like this floor might want to break. And if this floor does end up breaking, you know, I mean, the bad part about this is that there's no real kind of support that we can really point to on the chart, because the chart didn't really find resistance on the way up. And so that really does pave the way for a big drop here. And if the drop does get big and it turns into something serious, then that's obviously where, you know, these Bitcoin at 50K targets start coming into play. So I know I'm probably scaring a lot of you guys here, and at this point, this is where I'll remind you that you know, you need to know what asset class you're trading, right? Like, I've had a lot of people asking me, Sammy, at what point are you going to become bearish? I'm not going to fucking become bearish. I'm not going to become bearish. I might short. I might take some short trades. I might try to make some money if the market is going down, but I ain't getting bearish, okay? I'm not getting bearish. That's silly. It's 2025. We're stepping into 2026. The global AI takeover is happening. Nobody has a fucking job. Nobody has money anymore. AI is replacing everybody. The whole world is fucking changing. You're telling me digital gold won't go up in value? You're telling me digital gold won't be able to sustain itself above $100,000? I don't fucking think so, big man. I don't think that's how this is going to work in the next few years. And so I'm definitely not bearish, and I won't become bearish if we drop lower. I will just try my absolute best to buy more. However, sticking to what we see on the S&P 500 right now, if it does end up getting a drop, the only speculative kind of support that I can see is going to be down here at about 64.60. And this could definitely be enough. You know, the thing that I want you to keep in mind is that the S&P 500, since Trump got elected, hasn't really produced any significant corrections other than the big one with the tariffs from February to March. And then since then, it's been pretty small corrections. This is a 2% correction, 3% correction, 2.5%, whatever, 2% again, 2% again. We're not really seeing big corrections. This is the biggest correction we've seen so far. It's taken the S&P 500 down by about 5%. 5% is still not a big correction. So if it's going for something a little bit more standard, which would be closer to 10%, there is still some confluence here. There is repeated support that the market found, and there's definitely some coping that you can do if you do want to start painting some support levels on the chart. There are support levels here if you really want to cope. And so there is a possibility for the S&P to recover at these levels. But more than any of this technical stuff, the S&P 500 is going to be an index of major stocks. And it doesn't even include certain stocks like Tesla or NVIDIA. NVIDIA is actually part of NASDAQ. But the point is, it's a representation of kind of where the stock market is. And I don't think that these companies are slowing down. You know, I had to reach out to a friend of mine yesterday who works at one of these companies. And I basically said, like, you know, what's going on in that world? You know, like, this dude's a fucking geek, you know, and he's plugged into the world. And I love him. He's one of my best friends. You know, and I asked him, I was like, what's going on in this world? I mean, like, I'm seeing stuff. I'm seeing headlines. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm noticing the partnerships. Fucking everybody and their grandmother partnered with Anthropic just 2 days ago. You know, like, there's still clearly things that are going on. But I was like, from your perspective, what's going on? Are things slowing down? Or are things speeding up? And you know what he said to me? He said the same thing that I've been saying to you guys over the last few weeks. I need to make this point to you guys because I don't think many people are actually understanding this. I think that there's so much fucking fear going on right now that nobody actually wants to listen to any reason. But what this guy said to me, and I was shocked, because I mean, I wasn't shocked because I was like, obviously I was right. But I was shocked that he said the exact same thing I said, which is that previously there was a lot of hype with the AI developments that were coming out, right? right? There was a lot of like, oh my god, this is groundbreaking technology, and it's a really good proof of concept, and people were getting hyped up and getting scared about losing their jobs. Closing in on 100 likes, by the way. Smash them up if you haven't done so already. Thank you all very, very much. Really do appreciate it. And so that was kind of the first phase that we saw with AI coming out with GPT-3, 2022, and whatever. And then onwards, and since then, it's definitely had real effects. It's definitely replaced a lot of workers. It's definitely increased productivity in companies. There are robotics now that are being used in brick and mortar businesses a lot more. So there is a big takeover happening already. But where previously tech companies were just kind of like proving shit or starting to do stuff, what this friend told me is that these companies now are actually building things that are massive, and they're deploying and they're making money all at the same time. I mean, it's been the model. I don't know how many of you guys have been paying attention to this, but the model with this AI rush has been you launch something that's slop, but it's still kind of good enough. And then you... and then you're charging people $20 a month or $200 a month if you're OpenAI with a pro subscription or whatever the case may be, and you're using that to bootstrap your development, and then you're getting investment from every direction anyway. And so this industry is still blowing up. You know, and the stock market is obviously trying to run ahead of that and kind of see where it can get to, because the stock market wants to preempt the future. But I still don't think, from what I'm hearing from people and their takes on this AI revolution, I'm still hearing people say, oh, you know what, like, the world will just kind of adapt and everything will be fine. No, it fucking won't, dude. No, it won't. No, it won't. This is going to shake things up. This is a bigger shake-up than smartphones. It's already started, and it's absolutely massive. And it's reached, like, maybe fucking 0.1% of its potential. I really believe that. I don't think it's even realized 1% of the potential that it can actually get to. And I think we're being proven that basically every couple of months when a new LLM model or something else like that comes out. And we're seeing this integration into hardware happening now as well. So no, I don't think these stocks are dropping. Therefore, I don't think that the S&P 500 is in a lot of trouble. And if the S&P 500 is not in a lot of trouble, if the S&P 500, whether it pulls off a correction from here or here or here or lower, I don't think that we're going to have a bearish, Q1 2026, put it that way, especially if Q4 of this year is bearish for the rest of the quarter, which, to be fair, there's only about 40 days left now. So there's not really a long time left in 2025. That is so crazy. Oh my God, time is going too quick. Anyway, let's ignore that. So, no matter what this goes down to, I can totally see a recovery here. I think that's kind of the point I'm making. I think a lot of people are kind of starting to become very fashionable with their bearish ideas, and they're becoming arrogant with it as well. And that kind of arrogance does not get rewarded in these markets. That kind of arrogance gets punished in these markets, especially when you're looking at an asset like Bitcoin, which now, over here on the daily time frame, is down by, quite a crazy amount without a single pullback. Minus 17% inside of 8 or 9 days here is not a small move. And it's moved down very quickly without any sort of relief. Now, we don't have to get relief. Shit, we could keep dropping down in a straight line, literally down to fucking zero, and then Peter Schiff was right. And retail were also 100% right, because all of retail were bearish up here and bearish up here. And so all of retail would be right as well. And then things just really collapse forever, and we're all applying to McDonald's. But of course, McDonald's won't take us either because they have robots. And so, that's one perspective here. But the other perspective here is that short sellers are getting a little bit arrogant, but there are still too many long sellers. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the reason that the market is still dropping. But this is going to result in a lot of shorts piling up into the market. And that will result, I think, overwhelmingly likely in a very, very strong recovery rally. And I don't just think in Bitcoin. I think certain coins have shown us early signs of strength. I really like what I've seen on Solana so far. Solana has this long-term level right here, this long-term pennant right now. It's the same pattern that Litecoin has. It's the same pattern that XRP had, but XRP broke out of it when Trump got elected. It's the exact same pattern. Solana did manage to bounce right off that support level here. Now, obviously, I need to see follow-through, right? It's not good enough if we just retrace all the way back down. That would probably be the exit. I mean, it wouldn't be the exit signal down here, but if you collapse, break below, sustain below it for a period of time, that would obviously be the sign where it's like, okay, it's time to leave. And like I said, I'm not too upset with where I'm at. You know, my entries weren't that bad. They're definitely not amazing, but the entries weren't that bad considering everything that's happened. I'm not really down by very much, so I'm actually quite happy with this. If you guys are interested in the kind of deeper rundown on my positions, that's all going to be shared right here inside of BroFi for you guys. So you guys can get inside by following this link here in the description, at the top of the description here. Join BroFi VIP pre-launch now. It is $100 and there is incredible value behind this. You're getting direct access to me and my own proven tools and strategies inside of these markets with the BroFi certified course, where I'm actually literally just documenting my strategies for you guys and how I make my decisions inside of that course. Those videos are already up and there are more uploads coming within the next 24 hours. There's going to be a brand new batch of uploads inside of the BroFi certified course. The response on that content has been incredible. You know, a lot of people don't think that they necessarily need to learn this stuff. You go through this stuff in that course and it's kind of like what you get on this YouTube channel, but heavily focused on trading. And that's exactly what tomorrow's live show is about as well. So we're going live tomorrow. It is $100 to join, and we've had members paying off these fees to join non-stop, easily. Stops to break even here, 50% of the position off the table, bam, 200% profit, nice and easy. This guy joined a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. This guy joined only a few days ago, up $100 on this position, which is the investment made back, stop loss at break even. But then another trade here with substantially more profit from the exact same guy. Went a bit heavier into this one, stops at 9,200 and 92,000. And this guy loving that this is a goated group chat here. So we've been seeing incredible stop loss management and risk management here inside of this group. Really cool gains and brilliant discussions taking place. If you want to get yourself inside, now's your chance right now. While it is at $100, we'll be raising prices up to $500 here. It has been already pretty damn impressive just in the first couple of weeks here. And I know that you guys are going to love it as well. So definitely check that out if you are interested. But Solana BTC here looking pretty good. Cardano BTC here sitting on a thread of support right now, really at pretty disastrous levels. However, it's not actually that bad. I can't really say that because there's a ton of support back here stretching to 2019, 2020, and 2024. It's cope. It's not amazing. I really do want to see a bounce off here pretty soon. Otherwise, you know, especially if Bitcoin's going to see a bigger drop, I think that coins like this could get hit pretty hard. I do still like that certain coins like Ethereum are holding so well above their support levels. I mean, look at how well Ethereum has responded to the support level. It really looks like even if there is another dip here, this is the kind of dip that you want to buy or at least consider DCAing into, because this definitely is showing me some potential for a reversal to try and target this level at the top of the range again. I really think, especially now when everybody really thinks that these possibilities are basically very slim, you know, near impossible, this is kind of the time where it seems a little bit more likely for these kind of things to be happening in this market from my perspective as well. We've got a reading of 15 on the Fear and Greed Index. I don't even know what this means anymore because I don't really think we should be at 15. We feel like we're a lot lower than this, but it's been low for a long time now. I mean, since the 13th of November, it's now the 19th. You know, I mean, really since even the 4th of November, you know, is when we started to reach these levels of extreme fear in terms of sentiment. We got an interesting question inside of the BroFi chat today of somebody asking if the Fear and Greed Index is even still relevant these days, and I definitely think that it is. It's just that it's not instant, right? Like on this occasion here, you know, we stayed in extreme fear for quite some time. Well, not that long, definitely a little bit less than what we've done now, but we did stay low for quite some time, and we definitely still pulled off a recovery from there. But just historically, if you take a look back through when fear and greed levels have been this low, they do stay this low for a while. I mean, on this occasion here, we kind of got here like, what is this, like early March, and then we're leaving kind of like late April, mid-April. So, you know, we can definitely hang out in these kind of levels for a long time, and that would probably mean continuing to drop down. You know, that might even mean a grind down towards 75K for Bitcoin if it were to stay at these kind of fear and greed index levels for a month. But the bottom line is that we don't typically stay at those kind of levels for too long, and we have to eventually perform some sort of a relief rally, right? I mean, that's always going to come. Of course, we could get a black swan where that doesn't happen, but you know, I'm not really talking about those possibilities because I think that they're very, very slim. Therefore, I can't really work with them. You know, I'm working with the probabilities that I think are a little bit more probable, I guess, is kind of what I'm going for here. So That's definitely my take there. Thank you all for 100 likes. By the way, I really do appreciate you guys smashing those likes up. You absolute legends. Really, really do appreciate it. Thanks for helping us get this live stream pushed out a little bit here on this Wednesday here. But let's take a look at what some of the kind of news is saying here. If there's anything kind of particularly interesting, I want to take a read through this article right here on CoinDesk and see what's going on here. So if I go ahead and let me zoom out a little bit and then zoom in like this. I can put this on the left-hand side of the screen. Okay, so what we got? So Bitcoin slips back below 90K. Crypto correction now ranks among worst since 2017. Who the fuck is making these headlines, fam? Why is it the worst since 2017? How? We're down by like 28, 29% right now. Like, how is this anywhere near, you know, what we got in 2017? In 2017, we were seeing regular 40% corrections. So I don't know what they're like looking at to draw these conclusions, but I'd love to find out. Let's read on a little bit more. The big news Tuesday was crypto not just posting gains, but also rising even as US stocks sold off. That outperformance has been rare for what seems like months, with Bitcoin and other cryptos watching from the sidelines as major stock market averages made new record highs on a regular basis. Sadly for the bulls, though, normality has returned just 24 hours later, with Bitcoin tumbling 4% below 90K even as US stocks managed gains. Ethereum slid below $3,000. Crypto-related equities broadly mirrored the price action. MicroStrategy fell over 8%. Circle, Bitmine, Bitfarms, and Hive Digital saw similar declines. Okay. Let's get to the 2017 part, CoinDesk. What are you saying about 2017? Let me skim through this and see if they get to the... Oh, wow, they didn't even get to the point. Okay, so a completely unsubstantiated headline. Okay, how surprised are we? Let's just not use CoinDesk right now, and let's switch back to Twitter. And see if Twitter is looking interesting today for the... let's see Donald. I love Donald. He is a brilliant analyst. I ran out of levels that I could try to knife catch at. Technically, we have to wait for 95K monthly support to be reclaimed or for 60K monthly support to be hit. I'll let you guys do the hard work to get it to either of those. Probably not going to bother again in between. He's got a pretty good perspective here. He's basically saying that there is monthly support up here. The next monthly support is down here. This is very subjective. I'd say that there's monthly support a little bit higher as well, but this is definitely a better monthly level. Monthly analysis is controversial in crypto. I think it's probably on the whole smart to do, but I don't really do it too much. I typically tend to stick to weekly at most. However, these days, monthly is more relevant than ever. I have to say, this is a fucking terrible monthly candle. This is like this is a really bad monthly candle. Like, absolute fucking doomsday type shit. Like, really, really bad. And the reason I'm saying that is because if we do go ahead and look at this chart right here on the monthly time frame, where's the monthly time frame? Right here. I mean, yeah, like we kind of had a pretty good like kind of consolidation happening at the top, every candle consolidating inside of the one prior. I mean, that was a great monthly structure, and I was talking to you guys about it here on this channel. However, we didn't stick to that structure, and we have broken down. Now, obviously, here on the monthly time frame, we're literally only, 2/3 of the way through. So I mean, if this was a daily candle and there was 8 hours left on the candle, I would rightfully tell you, look, this candle can still go either way. There's still literally a third of the month left. And that's how I feel about this right here as well. However, obviously right now, it doesn't look like there's any recovery in sight. I don't think that matters. It never really looks like there's a recovery in sight when a recovery is coming. So that's not going to make me rule out the possibility of a recovery. However, it is still important to take note of, and it is still something that I don't want to be completely closed off to. We have pretty much completely failed this entire fucking range. And we do have another couple of ranges beneath, but obviously it ain't pretty, and it does turn into quite substantial corrections now. We are leaving medium correction territory at 29%, and we are entering, this is what I would call, a big, I mean, this is still a moderate correction at 32%, but, getting outside of like 32, like 35 and beyond, you're definitely in, strong correction territory. And again, that's kind of why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm coming on every day saying similar things because I'm seeing these really bad price drops, and I'm not seeing that fear reflected in the altcoin market. I'm just fucking not. I'm not seeing it. If we take a look at Bitcoin's dominance against Bitcoin itself, you know, on the long term, I mean, you're going to see pretty consistent big drops coming in when the price of you're going to see pretty consistent big jumps coming in for Bitcoin dominance when Bitcoin itself ends up moving down. And I want to show you that right here on this chart. So if we go ahead and overlay Bitcoin dominance and take a look at this, this is going to kind of surprise you guys. I mean, this is a really, really big deal. We take a look at this price scale here with Bitcoin dominance. And just let's look at this on the let's look at it on the weekly, because I think that's probably the most appropriate time frame for this. And I want to go ahead and remove some of these lines here because this will get confusing. And you know, this is what I'm talking about, right? So while we're dropping down, you know, like on this move up, we're seeing big rises on Bitcoin dominance, right? So at the beginning, it's not really happening. It only really starts happening from here. But, you know, the whole time Bitcoin dominance is moving up while we're seeing the biggest moves in this market. We do end up seeing Bitcoin drop back down, you know, but it only kind of moves back down into a low of the range. And for the most part, I mean, while you're seeing, look at this, like right here, like big drop coming in the market, and dominance is really shooting up at this exact time. Dominance also goes up when Bitcoin goes up. But the bottom line is, you know, dominance is going to be an example of, you know, how speculative are investors feeling? Like how, you know, what is the risk appetite for investors? Do investors want to take risk right now or not? And obviously being in Bitcoin is risky enough as it is, but being in altcoins represents a much higher level of risk tolerance, right? I mean, you're going to be clearly much more keen on, you know, you're going to feel a lot safer in the market if you're parking your money up in a coin like Ethereum or Solana or XRP or any of the others that are big, you know, the majors. You're going to generally feel, you know, like the market is not in terrible shape if you're parking your money in these more speculative coins. And that's what dominance reflects, right? Dominance reflects right now, you know, even though the price is dropping here, that there is still speculation ongoing. Now, this is so small, right? I don't want to draw massive conclusions off this because this is still a small scale move. But the point is that if we do zoom in a little bit, you know, we saw these kind of early warning signs, and we saw we correctly predicted the breakdown as well. We've got the early, you know, signs on our side here, you know, like this doesn't have to mean that I'm 100% correct, but so far nothing has invalidated what I've been saying. And I think that's a good thing. I think that means that this market is responding with quite a bit of strength to everything that's happening, because historically, I mean, if upward price action would bring Bitcoin dominance up, which it definitely did from this point onwards, right? We saw a huge spike in Bitcoin dominance, the entire market rally, and we only really started to see that get diluted when Bitcoin set this peak at about 108. And so Bitcoin dominance gaining throughout the entire market cycle, again, because, you know, it doesn't just work in reverse, right? Like when, you know, the markets are crashing, it works the other way as well, where when markets are going up, if you feel like Bitcoin is going to make you the money, then why the hell would you be invested in altcoins? That is unnecessary risk, right? And so that appetite only starts to kind of get diluted, you know, where there is a little bit more of an appetite to take on risk, you know, when Bitcoin holders have made money. And, you know, going back a few weeks here, basically everybody was in a profit on Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin was sitting at all-time highs. And so that did result in, you know, I mean, the numbers are in front of you. I'm not fucking pulling this out of my arse. Like the numbers literally, you know, reflected, and there was a sizable decrease in dominance from a high of 65-66% to a low of 57%. There was speculation ongoing here, and it's still continuing right now. And if an uptrend is enough to send Bitcoin dominance up, and a downtrend is enough to send Bitcoin dominance up, and right now we have a downtrend and we're still moving down with Bitcoin dominance, that is still a reflection of speculation taking place in this market. Okay, so now these are facts, right? These are just straight facts. Clearly, somebody's fucking speculating, right? Zcash isn't going up like this by accident. Like, there is speculation ongoing. I totally understand, by the way, that there is, you know, USDT dominance playing a big part in this, right? Like, USDT.D has definitely shot up, definitely indicating that there is a rush into stables. Look at this on the weekly time frame. As soon as the Bitcoin dominance breakout happened, where Bitcoin dominance broke down, this drop right here, that's exactly when USDT started shooting up. So a lot of Bitcoin's dominance decrease is attributed to this USDT dominance increase. However, it's not just USDT that's gaining dominance. Litecoin against Bitcoin has moved up spectacularly just over these last couple of weeks here. If we look at this on the daily time frame, it's done actually really, really well. Let's go ahead and hide this. If we look at others like Solana I was looking at just now, it did get a bounce. I know that this bounce looks, you know, pretty small, but it's 10%. I mean, it's a start. It is small. It's a start. There is cope here. I mean, you know, like we're still sitting at support levels. We haven't cleared them. Like I said, I'm not loving what I'm seeing here. You know, like it's not the best case scenario. But again, as far as like the signs that you could be producing, we're producing them right now. We are showing those signs. That doesn't mean that it's gonna work, right? Like we can show these signs and then still fail. That happens all the time. And if you're bearish, that's what you think is gonna happen here. But for me, I still don't see market structure breaking. Solana BTC didn't break market structure. Bitcoin certainly didn't break market structure. I know we have a lot of talk about that, but if Bitcoin's only down by 29%, I'm not calling it a bear market. Shoot me, okay? 32% down over here, 32% down over here. Everybody and their nan was telling us that we were bearish and that we were dropping down to zero when the price fell down here and when the price fell down here. And they were obviously completely incorrect. Your boy Sammy was live, or making videos at the time though, and telling you that actually these are support levels and this is where Bitcoin should bounce. And that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, we're not at support right now, but our next support is at 85 and then 75 from what I can see on this chart. So that's why I'm not saying that I think we're inside of a bear market. We have a couple people saying that nobody knows, and you're 100% correct, but I'm putting my best shot out here for my analysis. That's all I can do. You put your best foot forward. You put your most sober, thoughtful analysis forward, keeping it as objective as you can, and then you have to commit to a direction and put your money somewhere eventually, right? You don't have to do it in a rush. You can certainly wait, but eventually you're going to have to go from being completely objective and detached from the market to actually picking a side and being 100% biased, because otherwise, if you're not biased, you can't take a position. So, you know, this is kind of how it works. Like, nobody knows, okay, that's a standard thing, and I think that's pretty clear, but, you know, we do still have, you know, quite a bit to kind of work with here in this market, I think. So bear with here, guys. My phone is blowing up. One sec here. Okay, cool. So how are we feeling in the live chat? Let's drop some let's drop some questions and whatever else you guys would like to go through here in this live chat. Just Q says, I respect this guy. I know he's smart, but to still be bullish is wild. I mean, you guys tell me, like, if you guys can bullet point your number one reasons for being bearish, let's have the discussion right now. If someone or a few people can just write out in small bullet points, like what makes you feel like being bullish is kind of crazy right now, you know? Because to me, being bearish is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the right time to be bearish was kind of at the top, but you know, now we're down 29% inside of a bull market. You know, I definitely think that there's you know, more upside than downside overall at the moment, especially considering where the stock market is now. Like I said, if the stock market collapses, then all of this is off, and Bitcoin's probably dropping pretty hard. But I don't really see that happening. Ichimoku works well on what time frames? I mean, you know, so it's going to vary, right? I mean, Bitcoin slowed down, so obviously I'm a little bit more open to, you know, larger time frames analysis for everything right now, but I don't like to do that too much because it gets a little bit silly and you start kind of fitting your analysis to your theories, which is very, 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 very dangerous. But here on the daily time frame, Ichimoku Cloud is forecasting some resistance for us in the low $100,000 region, which totally makes sense with some of our kind of horizontal levels of resistance that we were already aware of. The 3-day Ichimoku Cloud does offer a lot of support right now. However, we're about to lose this level as well, so I don't know how valid this will be. But you know, I can see why someone might use the 3-day chart. We were discussing the 3-day chart a little bit inside of BroFi recently as well, and there definitely is some kind of credit that you can give to it, but you know, it seems to have worked throughout this market cycle. Shit, I mean, it really did, right? It has predicted, you know, all of the steepest drops inside of this bear market. I'm sorry, inside of this bull market. That would indicate that we are at the macro bottom right now, which is pretty exciting. But I don't think that the market is responding to this level like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're down at this level. Where's the bounce? We're not producing a bounce. You know, like, that's not good. We should be producing a bounce by now, if that's the kind of argument that we want to make. But there is no bounce. And so, you know, that does look like it might want to have to break down a little bit lower and find that support. Or maybe, you know, we just kind of trade sideways from around the bottom of some sort. But that hasn't started yet either. And it's all very, very hopeful thinking, wishful thinking, cope. All sorts of flavors of that kind of thing there. But at the same time, sure, you know, I mean, you don't want to fade these levels when they're at their absolute lowest. And that's kind of the point I'm making. You know, a lot of people do this really, really, really stupid habit of, you know, getting maximum bearish right at the bottom. And I don't think that's smart, like especially inside of a bull market, like inside of a bull market, I can't say I was maximum bullish at the top here, but I was pretty damn bullish at the top. That was obviously a mistake in hindsight because I could have fucking shorted it and made a shitload of money, sure. And we did have quite a few members that did that, by the way, inside of BroFi. I mean, these were long positions here. I think there was, quite a bit of longs over the last few days here. But before these recoveries did happen, kind of like yesterday and the day before, we did see a lot of shorting happening inside of BroFi. And like I said, if you do want to get yourself inside, it is linked right at the top of the description here for $100 in early access. We're probably coming out early access in December or January. I don't really know yet. It really depends on how much we can kind of fill out here. But when we are in early access for the next month or two, you're not even being charged for your second or third month inside of BroFi. You're just paying to get in. And you're only going to get charged more outside of early access, which is pretty damn cool. So definitely worth getting yourself inside. Hit up this get started button. $100 on the other side there. Really, really cool. But let's see what we got here in the live chat. Alex says we got 2 more days for the bounce. I mean, yeah. I've said that a couple of times now. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't think it's over. And I've had these support levels drawn out since when we were well above $100,000, 85, 75. I didn't really expect we'd get down here this quick. I'll be honest, but. I don't think that really matters either. I think that just probably means our recovery will be a little bit better, hopefully. So, I mean, that's usually how it does go. I can't see the future, but I'm just going off, this very same market cycle that we're still in right now, along with my, 8 years of kind of experience in these markets. I think, and, like I said, you get people saying, like, like, I'm a smart guy, but it's crazy that I'm bullish. This is the thing is, I've been in these situations before inside of bull markets where situations kind of felt like this when we had a big drop and it really felt like the market was over, and then it even broke significant levels, right? I remember distinctively, the first time I ever kind of sold the bottom. It was one of my first ever trades inside of crypto. It was on this move right here, right? And this was a pretty big deal because Bitcoin set this all-time high at $3,000, and then it even kind of entered this kind of symmetrical triangle here, which broke down. And the thing about the symmetrical triangle breaking down was, I guess, like in hindsight, it was kind of obvious, right? Like you could just kind of like analyze it and then kind of forecast how low it might go. And it like more or less met that target here. So, I mean, in a sense, you could have seen it coming, but I didn't. I was very fresh into the game. I mean, I was only in the markets for a couple of months at this point. And so I ended up selling Bitcoin like down here. And it was a steep drop, and it really looked like the market was over because it, and by the way, we're looking at this from like a really comfy armchair, expert position. But, if I go ahead and replay this chart and show you what it actually looked like, I mean, this was, back then, no one was using logarithmic. We didn't know what logarithmic charts were. So this is what the chart looked like. And then we ended up getting a dump that looked a little bit like this, and so when this dump comes in and the chart starts looking like this, I mean, it really looks like the market's over. Right, and so I sold basically like at the bottom here. I sold down here, I think, at like 1,800, if I'm not mistaken. I would have sold like down here. It was very, very low that I ended up selling. And then obviously the market recovered up the next day. So this is something that's happened to me a lot. This is something that's happened to you guys a lot as well. And I don't actually feel like the fear, like I remember the fear I felt down here. The fear I felt down here is the same fear that I know many people are feeling right now in the market. And that doesn't mean that those people are wrong to feel that fear. That fear could be protecting them from a really, really good move. But if there's anything I learned about operating outside of out of fear inside of these markets, it's that is a very consistently bad idea. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. If you are, you know what to do. Smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Absolutely brilliant to be back on these pretty much daily live streams here. We're actually streaming nearly daily here, which is very, very cool. So hope you guys are enjoying it like I am here as well. Any NVIDIA news? I'm not so sure about that. Nothing that I know about right now. John, we did set a lower low today, correct? Trump talked and we started crashing today. Oh, I didn't know about that. Peak 8 says exactly, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy either, man. Shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've been that guy a lot. I don't want to do that again. Hajim says, Four Flies, what market recovering the next day is crazy work. I know, right? I know. But back then, the market moved a lot quicker, right? This time, it could take a month, for a recovery to really take shape. I don't know. I think it's going to happen quickly, but it certainly could take some time, right? I mean, it's really hard to say right now. But who's in BroFi? So it's me and a couple of other kind of insiders that I trade with inside of the market. People that I really respect inside of these markets, whose opinions I value, and then of course There's members that I've coached in the past, like years ago. Some of those people inside there, and then there's also, yeah, obviously just people that have joined over the last couple of weeks since we put this in early access. So it's, like I said, it's still a small group. It has grown a lot, but it is still small. It'll be small for a while. As far as like how much I can deal with it, you know, because right now I'm dealing with people in DMs. I'm able to spend a lot of time with every single member. It's not going to be like that forever, but I think it will be like that for a while because I have a lot of free time, which is really, really nice because I want to spend my free time doing this. So definitely very, very excited. Like I said, the next releases where I'm documenting some crazy stuff. I don't even want to talk too much about the strategies, but you know, they do involve deviations and things like that. Very, very common things that we deal with in these markets, things that really screw people over. I've actually given a pretty, I don't want to call it bulletproof. It's not, nothing's really bulletproof, but I've given a pretty solid strategy that can take advantage of that kind of volatility inside of these markets. That is being released inside of BroFi in the next 24 hours. So if you are joining today, you will be able to see that along with tomorrow's weekly live stream, which is going to be very exciting because a lot has happened, and I'm very, very excited to make that update for BroFi members about kind of where my positions are and what I plan on doing next. I think it's been good these last couple of weeks, how I've kind of navigated the markets, but obviously we're at such an important inflection point now that probably a lot of money can be made. And that's where I think that's why I'm especially interested in the market right now, you know, like at these kind of drops and with the kind of polarized sentiment, you know, it is quite a powerful kind of moment inside of these markets here. But you know, the group chat's more than that. You know, a big part of the group is the performance driven community here, and it's more than that. You know, a big part of this is kind of, you know, I don't want to say challenging ideas because I'm really not going to try and convince anyone to change their mind on anything. That's not my business. But you know, just kind of putting ideas out there and discussing them with very sober perspectives. You know, going deep into those ideas as well. You know, we have had a couple members really appreciating that as well, which has been pretty cool. It's been nice. It's been nice to do this. But let's move back to the market here. Glad you guys are enjoying the stream here. Smash up those likes. 19 likes away from 150. You absolute legends. Thank you all very, very much. Bitcoin right now sitting at $89,200. Let's look at it on the minute time frame here. It is producing a little bit of a bounce. It's a pretty big bounce right now. If this bounce can get, you know, a little bit higher, it's going to start becoming very, very interesting. Shout out to Chris Farrell in the live chat saying BroFi 100%. Nvidia could be the catalyst to push this to 100K. It definitely could. It just needs to wake up, right? The stock market is a little bit sleepy. It's not even sleepy. It's just a little bit dumpy right now. I'm wondering if the indecision in the stock market right now is actually down to the Epstein files. I don't think it is. I don't think that the Epstein files realistically are going to have that much of an impact on the stock market because I think they're going to be sanitized, and I think there's going to be tons of redactions, or you know, it might not even say redacted. They might just literally not include stuff. And I think, you know, the combination of whatever they end up doing is going to result in a pretty tame response from the stock market. I believe from what I've seen here so far. That's kind of that's my take here in these markets. I think you're very right of a sharp recovery. I mean, you know, we've got to have a recovery at some point, right? The thing is, the recovery doesn't have to be impressive. The recovery doesn't have to take the price up to levels that you and I want to see it. You know, like the recovery could only take Bitcoin up to 97K, 98K. That could be it, you know? And that's my point, is that if we get a very shallow recovery and then we punch in a meaningful high, and then we can say, you know, with some degree of certainty that that was the high, that would really be a big exit signal for a lot of people. Probably not for me. I'm still not going to fucking exit. I just don't think it's smart. But, you know, a lot of people will probably feel like, okay, this is too much. It's time to get out. That's totally reasonable. That's good risk management. I understand. And so, you know, I think that's where a lot of people will end up. You know, if we produce a kind of shallow pullback. But if we don't produce a shallow pullback and we even get as high as like 117K, that's all still resistance. You know, so it's, you know, like the market needs to do some good, impressive stuff now to turn this around, because it is an incredibly bearish posture right now. But again, I mean, you know, that's short term, right? Long term, it's still very strong. So, that's kind of that's my take. That's my take there. That's my take. So let's see. Let's see on the weekly. What are we looking like on the weekly? I mean, we got way too many days left on this weekly candle to start analyzing it, but yeah, I mean, this is a liquidity zone right here. There's another one down here. I understand 60k from Donald. 60k makes sense, but I don't think we need to come down that low. I don't know. We could. Shit, it would be just like the last market cycle if we did, you know. But I don't really see it. Lagworthy Lag says, how has there not been a short squeeze yet? Bros must be loading shorts like crazy. Well, there are a lot of longs. That's the problem. There is definitely a lot of shorts coming into the market, but it seems like there's still more longs. So, I don't know, man. And these longs aren't, you know, like 10-10 didn't scare the longs away. The next liquidation event didn't scare the longs away. On this drop, there's longs still aren't. People are just still going long. And it's because the price looks like it needs to recover up. And I think that's why it's been such an extreme sell-off. But my point is, always looks most extreme at the lowest. It's going down to 70k. That's where all the buy orders are from the biggest players. I mean, you know, I'd love to know if you have some real substance to back that statement up. But I'll tell you what, I have a guy in the OTC world who handles really big volumes for big players, institutions, and so on. I can actually bring him on to one of these streams here. If you guys want to see that, let me know. Smash up the likes. Let me know with the likes, or I mean, if you've already hit the likes, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. Because I can get that guy over, and I can literally just ask him point blank. And I've already asked him. I was like, can I ask you this, this, and this? And he's like, yeah. You know, like, if you guys want me to bring him on, I can just bring him on and be like, look, bro, like, what's going on? What kind of buy volume are you seeing? Who is it coming from? Is it mainly selling? Who's buying? You know what I mean? Like, that could be interesting. I don't know. Let me know if you want to see that with the likes, with the comments. Let me know. We might be able to make that possible. Where are the stop losses for these longs? I mean, this is the thing, is they're getting stopped out, but then more longs are entering again. So, you know, we're not really getting done with this, which is kind of the problem here. It'd be cool to bring him. James says yes. ZealDMV says yes. Bukele says yes. Hell yeah. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. Alex wants to bring him on. We can do that. Let me send him a text right now. I'm gonna take a picture of the live chat. I'm gonna show this to him. Live chat wants to see you on a show. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And if you guys are curious, it's actually one of the reps at 𝐿𝐷 Brown. Where's 𝐿𝐷 Brown? Where's 𝐿𝐷 Brown? Right here in the description. It's personal OTC buying and selling worldwide. They're based in Sydney, Australia, which means they're in a Western country, so you don't have to deal with some weird fucking Seychelles, you know, lack of regulation. These are legitimate guys. Suitable for all trading volumes. I've personally put through like $500,000 with them already. Pretty quickly as well. I've done a lot of trading with them, and it's been flawless. It's been really, really good. So definitely check them out. They've got good fees. It's this guy. It's the guy that works for these guys. You guys are gonna like them. These guys are really, really good. I've primarily been using OTC for many years. I don't really like buying on normal exchanges as much anymore. I still do it. Different use cases for different situations. But what I really like about these guys is that they will send the money into my bank account anywhere in the world. You know, which is really, really cool, because, you know, not a lot of options, especially if you're in the West, are super, super great at exchanging crypto and sending dollars or pounds or whatever into your bank account. But these guys, like I said, have been absolutely brilliant. So well worth checking them out as well. Bring him on BroFi for a little Q&A. Hey, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Let me send him that text. Maybe do a little Q&A with my private group. I like the sound of that. To be honest, how much capital do we need to be dealing with before OTC makes sense over a regular exchange? I don't know. I mean, because they're different products, right? So you can totally use 𝐿𝐷 Brown with like $1,000 trading volume, $500 trading volume, and you can use all of the OTC benefits that they offer. All of them. The same benefits apply to you at $500 or $500,000 or $5 million. You know, like you're getting the same suite of tools. And so I'd say it's still pretty useful. It just depends on what you want to do with the money. But the point is, you want to be signed up. You want to be familiar with the process. You want to get your KYC done, get your documents checked. And be ready to use it, because the day that you actually want to use it, you're still going to have to take a day or two to sign up and submit your documents. So, I mean, it doesn't take that long, to be fair. I think KYC on 𝐿𝐷 Brown takes like 5 minutes. But the point is, you want to be set up, you know, and know that it works and test it before you really need it, not after. And that's why I'm saying it's a brilliant idea to kind of check them out. All right, I'm going to be wrapping up this stream here relatively soon. We are coming up to the hour mark. If you have any other questions, now is your time to drop them in the live chat. As far as what I see on Bitcoin right here, though, it's not good. It's definitely not good. I want to see where a bounce might come in. I don't know where a bounce might come in other than 85 and 75 right now. I think it could also come in at random levels. That's why I'm not really speculating on this too much. Am I bearish? No. No. We're down by 17% without a pullback. So no, I'm fucking not bearish. You know, that the bearish time was a week ago. You know, maybe we are still going to drop down by quite a bit, but I definitely think that the chance of a recovery is a lot higher at this point, and I don't know where that might come in from, but I think it's going to rely on the stock market, and if and when the stock market can pull it off, then we're good. I wonder, like I said, if the Epstein files are, you know, kind of to explain for some of this lack of decision, this lack of decisiveness in the stock market, and if it is, and if the Epstein files turns out to be really bad and they get released, then I don't know, we could be looking at a massive implosion for the whole world, and it's GG. But like I said, I don't really think that's going to happen. I think that's a very over-dramatized kind of view of how this might end up playing out. I think reality is going to end up being a little bit more boring than that. And I think that, you know, if they do, like I said, if they do end up releasing the files, it will hopefully just be a kind of sigh of relief. I mean, it depends. Hopefully is going to depend on who you are. But, you know, if you're just interested in the stock market and Bitcoin, then you definitely want to hope that that the Epstein files don't screw over the U.S. government. Because if they do, then we might see a stock market crash instead, and the entire world restructuring because now we have to lock up a bunch of pedophiles. So, you know, if that does end up happening, the markets go one way. But if I think the more likely situation is that they either don't release anything or they release something very sanitized, and in that situation, there's no longer any reason to be scared because I mean it depends on like how much they pull the wool over the American people. You know, to make the American people believe, you know, what's fake if they end up releasing something fake. But if they do a good enough job, which they're good at doing, they are good at doing a good enough job, then this problem goes away and the stock markets return back to business as usual. So that's going to be best for us in these markets. It might not be best for the country. I mean, that's a different debate, and I'm not going to get involved in that debate. But as far as these markets are concerned, we want either the files to not come out or to come out and be, you know, not a big deal, or at least not a very big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what we can hope for at this stage. But I don't know. It looks like the stock market is looking for a little bit of you know, some sort of answers here. But you know, I mean, it's still in good structure. It's still inside of an uptrend. It's still bouncing off support. You know, it's not actually particularly doomed by any means, I think, from what I'm seeing here. Alex says, thanks, Sammy. Great stream as always. You're very, very welcome. Lovely to see you here, of course. Chris says, I'm neither bullish nor bearish right now. Like you said, 30% corrections out of bull markets are common, but we literally are 30% down right now, which is why I think 85K is such a massive test. You're 100% right. You're 100% right on everything that you said. Yep. James says, I've heard it beating expectations, especially with recent deals of chip orders. They're essentially sold out for 4 years. Is that NVIDIA you're talking about? I think I heard that as well. I'm pretty sure I have heard that as well. NVIDIA's got like a huge backlog of orders to fulfill now. For companies that have essentially like pre-ordered GPUs or something. Bill Barrow says, great stream. Thank you very much. Take care. You as well, mate. Tommy says, Chris, you're right, but this time it's different, I think. Best to prepare for both cases. I guess that means, Tommy, you're a little bit more bearish. 70K could happen, but, you know, you're... I don't know. I don't really see it. Maybe for a quick wick, but I don't really see like a substantial presence at about 70. Not as it stands right now. Again, you know, if we're looking at a bigger stock market collapse, then sure, any of these things are on the cards. But I don't know. I think there's, like I said, I'm more optimistic than not at this stage for sure. All right. Thank you all very much for tuning in. You've managed to take us up to 150 likes here. We're only one away, so thank you all very much for that as well. It's been another brilliant live stream in the books. Really hope you guys have enjoyed it. You already know what to do. Smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Get inside of BroFi right now so that you can see our private weekly live stream tomorrow. I'll be going over a lot of very, 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 very saucy things. And you're also getting the update inside of BroFi certified course tomorrow with an incredible couple of strategies that work very well inside of this market. Those are dropping tomorrow as well. So I'll see you guys on the other side. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, take care. Cheers.